Welcome to the Socialize strategy and happy Friday. I got all dressed up for you today. Actually, I'm going out tonight to a 10-year celebration of my son's group home. So it's the 10-year gala, and I am heading out of the city early so I don't sit in traffic. Also picking up my mom, so a little extra driving. So I'm all ready to go early. But let's talk about a few things before I get into the topic today. And I have to say my morning was an adventure because the ticker tape parade for the New York Liberty was this morning, as the morning that I'm recording this, which is on a Thursday. And even though it's a Friday for you, this is yesterday. I was at a ticker tape parade, my first ever. I've never gone down to City Hall to try and see a parade. Usually it's for the Mets or the Yankees or some sports team, a male sports team. And this was so exciting because it was a women's win for the WNBA major. And I've been following this. My husband and I have been watching these games. I'm obsessed with the mascot, Ellie the elephant. So I wore my hat with my Ellie pin, and I was hoping I'd get to meet her. Anyway, it was just a really, really fun experience. Also, as I always like to say, everything is content. So I was immediately recording. I went by myself, so I made friends in the crowd right away. I had a good friend now, Epiphany, who was with me, and I met someone, and I just really enjoyed engaging with the people around me. I loved seeing the spirit of New York come through for the women's basketball team. It was just a very, very good event, and I'm just so happy that I was able to go see it in person. And I, by now, will have posted content about it, so I will. If it's already posted, I will link it in the show notes. I'm sure it's posted and I'm sure it's linked in the show notes. So you can go see what my experience was. A lot of fun. And what I want to talk about related to this morning is some things that I want to get better at in social media. And that's spurred on because this morning when I was at the event, instead of saving all my posts, I was like, oh, I'm going to start posting them to my story right away on the fly. And I need to get better at doing that. I think that's a really important feature of the story, is that you can be in the moment posting things. You don't have to curate so tightly or edit and make it into a reel, which I'm going to do later for the event itself. But I tried to just put some posts out there right away. Of course, the minute the event started, I stopped doing it because I was too into it and filming it. And then I wasn't posting as I experienced it. But what I think I would like to try and do more of is get out of my rhythm, which is how I do it now. I film things all during the course of the day. And then in the evening when I sit down, I post my stories, I edit my reels or my TikToks, whatever it may be, and I post. But I want to try and do more spontaneous on-the-fly story posts. And I'm going to challenge myself as of this moment on this podcast to do the same on stories on TikTok. I'm very story savvy. I post consistently on the Instagram story, but I definitely don't do that on the TikTok story. So I'm going to try that coming up and see if it changes engagement, see if it helps my other posts do better, or if it's just the same type of thing on Instagram where you have your loyal story watchers, story viewers that comment on your stories. It's unfortunate because on TikTok, I'm definitely not able to keep up with the DMs. And every time someone comments on a story, it shows up as a DM. And it's impossible for me to keep up with that. So I won't be able to answer those messages necessarily, but I think I'm going to try and really focus on that because I don't do enough stories on TikTok. So that's my goal. The second thing I'm challenging myself, I know Lorraine is going to love this, so I really hope you're listening, Lorraine. I'm going to challenge myself to be more mindful of writing captions and paying attention to maybe longer captions, especially on Instagram. I'm going to see if it does me a favor, if people read them. I mean, I'll know right away by the comments if people are reading them because maybe whatever I write in the comment, we'll see. But what I have started to do, I know this is a little bit of a cheat, but when I post on the Socialize on the Socialize Instagram, particularly. So in other words, I'm posting a tutorial or a lesson or something on Socialize, and then I collaborate it with the mothership account. When I do that, I tend to pay more attention to writing a caption. And what I have done, this is a good cheat for those people who don't like to write, is I went to ChatGPT and I just say, write a caption for this video, and then I describe what the video is. And then I let it write the caption for me. Now, do I copy paste it? No, because typically it doesn't write it the way I might like it in my language. But what it does is it gives me the framework. And so then I can go and change the whole thing if I want to, and which is sometimes what I do because I don't really like the way it's written necessarily, but it makes me think, oh, I can write that first and that subject and change it around. So I'm challenging myself. You're going to be so happy, Lorraine, because you're right. Even though Instagram and TikTok are very video photo mediums, words are important and words will help categorize videos. So here's one thing I found out. I don't know if I said this on a podcast or on a live, but I was telling someone that, I think I answered a question last week. When in my search button, I noticed that the search bar is picking up words from my lower caption. So I'm like, let me pay more attention to it if that's what it's doing. So that is my plan. Okay, so now that we know what the things are that I'm going to improve on, you can watch my improvement and you can feel free to comment if you think I'm doing well as we go. Now, the other thing that happened this week that was fun, I'm going to really ramble a little today, sorry. But the other thing that happened this week is I ran into an event in Flatiron for Suja organic juices. So right away it caught my eye because in the Flatiron, there's always either art installations or promo events. That just seems to be a hot spot for those type of things. I was at one recently for Downy or some kind of Downy product. And I saw this thing and I went over and I noticed right away it said Corporate Natalie on, I guess she is sponsored by them or somehow they are in collaboration with her. And I really thought I would get to meet her. I thought that would be really fun. But I managed to meet some other people in Suja Organic, made some fun content, and they gave me flowers, which was really, really nice. Before I left, I had walked away already and I had gotten my juice and I was leaving, but I was still filming. And they came over and they gave me flowers. I guess they were wrapping up and they were getting rid of some of the flowers at the event. So the young ladies there were very, very nice. They were in my TikTok and I talked to them a little bit about TikTok. So had fun there. I like to get about the city on my own because I tend to engage more. When I'm with someone else, I'm with that person. I'm paying attention to that person. I'm not, I guess, as distracted by people around me, or I'm not as open to let's have a chat with people around me. Whereas when I'm alone, I am way more open. I am way more in touch with what's happening around me in a different way than when I'm with someone. So, for example, if I'm out with my husband and we're at dinner, I'm not less likely to strike up a conversation with someone because I'm with him. Or if Julie and I are out somewhere, we're with each other, we're making a TikTok. We don't necessarily engage with the people around us. But when I'm by myself, I do a lot of it. And Julie would say that, yes, I'm an extrovert. And even though I like alone time, my alone time usually involves other people. So even this morning when I went to the ticker tape parade by myself, I got myself a friend and we were having a really fun time making content. So I guess that's the truth about me. But I did want to share that influencer like Corporate Natalie, they were telling me that she's lovely to work with. And I'm sorry that I missed her because I think it would have been really fun to do a collab with her. That would have been really kind of cool. But timing is off. What else is off is that yesterday Will Ferrell was a few blocks from my apartment on the street doing some promo thing, and I missed him too. And it was 2 blocks away from me. I was so upset. Oh my gosh, but I love living in the city. Lots of excitement and always stimulation, which is, I think, what my favorite thing about living here is. But now, without further ado, let me dive into the topic for today. And I do have questions I'm going to answer at the end. Some really fun questions today. So today's topic is, what is the deal with collaborations on TikTok and Instagram? And do people even know about collaborations? Because one time I recorded something with a friend of mine from work and I said, oh, you should. Of course, she was going to post it. And I said, no. Like, we should collaborate. Like, if you post it, invite me as a collaborator. And she didn't even know what that was. So I'm like, I thought everybody knew that was a thing, that you can post on one account and invite up to 5 collaborators, I believe it is. And your videos will then be like shared property. So it'll be on everybody's feed. So it maximizes your exposure. When I do weddings and I do videos for people's weddings, I always post and invite them as a collaborator, and so then their wedding video shows up on their feed as well, even though sometimes it depends on the point of view. If it's my POV of their wedding, I would post it on my feed and then share it. If it's a video I've shot for a wedding and it's not featuring, my POV, then I wouldn't do that. Okay, so hopefully that's clear. And all right, let's get on to, now that this feature that I've been dying to have on TikTok is finally released on TikTok. finally. It has taken a long time for this to happen, and I've been waiting for it. I've been joking about it for months, saying that really TikTok needs the collaboration feature. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And it's like they heard me. Of course they didn't, but it's like they did, and now we have it. So it's so excellent. So why is this feature good, and why is it helpful? Let's just start with first describing nicely what it is, because I kind of rambled on what it is. It's when you post a piece of content and you invite, it's not tagging someone, you can tag people, or you can invite them as collaborators. And when you do that, it puts the video on your feed, and then it adds those people as, so it'll say on the video was posted by so-and-so and X, Y, and Z, the other people. And it shows up on their feed. And that means that their audience sees it. So you have, if you do 5 people, you have 5 times the audiences on this video. And so it tends to do better. In the same way, if you just tag someone, those videos tend to do better, because the people that are tagged will come over and see it. And they may then forward it to a friend if they were in it. So tagging and collaboration are perfecto for engagement. So I was so excited when TikTok got it. I couldn't wait. Of course, TikTok has a limit on how many you can do per month. I think it's only 5, which is really upsetting because it's not enough. I think it needs to be more, but that's what it is. It's 5. So use your collaborations wisely over your period of 30 days. What happens when you invite a collaborator, and if you will go to post, when below the post where it says you can tag people, this goes for Instagram and TikTok, that will be where you can invite a collaborator. And what happens on the other side is that collaborator will get a message like a DM, and it says you have been invited to collaborate, and you have to review the request. So you get to look at the video, make sure you're liking it before you accept the collaboration. And then if you like what you see, you can accept, and that puts it right onto your page. Obviously, if the person deletes the video, the original creator is the one in control of it. So you can't tag someone in it. You can't do anything like change it or edit it or change the caption. It's in control of the first poster, not you. The other thing is only the first poster can monetize from it. So if they have an Instagram account where they're monetizing from views, or a TikTok account where they're monetizing from views, it's only going to show up. The money is only going to go to that creator that posted it first. So it's been a quandary on people with shop videos, because the shop video, if you share it with someone else, they're not going to get any shop sales from it. It's only going to be on the original person who posted it. I hope that's clear. It's just a fun thing because it broadens your audience and it provides reach that you otherwise might not have. So I just kind of love it. It's the problem with it for some people is, depending on what the thumbnail is that the person originally chose, you have to decide, oh, I don't know if I like that thumbnail in my feed. If you're very concerned about your aesthetic, it could be problematic. It's possible to remove it from your grid, I think. Actually, I don't even know if you can remove it from a grid if you're invited as a collaborator. I think that once you invite, it's there. So just be aware of the limitations that are involved, but also don't get stressed about those limitations, because so what if it's not perfectly perfect in your feed? Your feed will fill up again, and your feed will get perfect again. So it might be better to have the engagement over holding on to your aesthetic. So you have to make that balance. You have to make that choice. Now let me see what else we talked about in the newsletter here. Okay, accepting a collaboration, taking advantage of both audiences, and then remove yourself after the here's another. This is a suggestion from Julie. Once you pass, if you don't like how it looks on your feed, you can remove yourself as a collaborator after a period of time. So you could say, I'm going to keep this up here for 72 hours to help that person's engagement, but then you can remove yourself as a collaborator. I have never done that. Interesting. But that's a good, interesting strategy that Julie brings up. So I kind of like that as an idea. Now let's go through the benefits that she listed here. Your post gets seen by not only your audience, but whoever you collaborate with. It makes, if collaborators, this is a good one. If collaborators prior had done something together, like if I had met a TikToker in the city, and then we'd have to decide who's going to post the video, or I'd shoot one for my account and they would shoot one for their account, and then we'd have different videos going. But now we can share the same video. So that's fun. And that's really fun. The question is like, who's the lead? You have to decide. Sometimes it's helpful to pick the person with more followers to be the lead. And in other cases, it depends on the concept. If the concept is more related to one person than the other, then let that person lead. If it's a dance video and you don't normally do dancing, the other person does, let them post it as a dance video. And then maybe you make a lip sync one and you can add them as a collaborator to your lip sync one. So you still can make more than one video, but you decide who's going to be the lead collaborator. The other bonus is that new features are always pushed by the algorithm. So when a new feature rolls out, it's a good idea to take advantage of it because you potentially could get more eyeballs on your content in general, more engagement. So factor that in because that's another good thing. And so the overall thought we have about collaboration is that we love it as a rule because we've been waiting for it for a long time. I feel I'm sort of bummed that we can't use it more than 5 times a month on TikTok. I use it on every post that I put on the Socialize Instagram account. Almost every single one gets posted to my feed as well because I have the larger audience. And so I want to make sure I'm maximizing for the Socialize account. All right, if that makes sense. So that's a good reason to do it. And we highly recommend grabbing a friend and trying it out. I would love to know if you have questions about the collaboration feature. If you don't have it, don't be stressed out because a lot of people have already messaged when I posted my tutorial. They were like, I don't have it, blah, 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 really bummed. And it is upsetting if you don't have it, but just make sure that if you don't have it, you're still tagging those people so that you're getting at least the opportunity where that person might post it to their story or might give it some engagement on their side. And I love to, if I was on a collaboration with someone prior and they posted a video, I always made a comment and then posted it to my story so that it would get the attention of my audience as well. It's not the same as a collaboration, but it's a close second. So if you don't have the collaboration feature, maybe suggest to the person that you'd like to collaborate with to share the video to their story after you post it, or vice versa. If they post a video, they can't invite you as a collaborator, you can share it to your story. So that's a good way around it. And now, without further ado, let's hit up some questions for today. Love the questions. Where do you get your inspiration for hooks? Okay, this is a great question because I don't always think about what's my hook. Like, it's not part of something that, for me, it's more instinctual. It's not something I literally think about using the word hook in my brain. I go, how am I going to start my video? How am I going to capture people's attention? I never think like, what's my hook? I just think, how am I starting this to get the best engagement? Which is the same thing, I know, but it's just my mindset doesn't use the word hook. But where I get inspiration for it is depending on what the content is. So if I'm trying to, for example, when I post a video about the ticker tape parade, I don't know how I'm going to start that video yet, but I'm going to make sure it's clear that I'm going somewhere cool. And then I might back it up. So I might just say, I'm at the ticker tape parade for the New York Liberty, and then kind of backtrack to when I'm leaving my apartment, when I'm getting on the city bike, when I'm traveling down, when I'm biking there, when I'm trying to find a spot to watch. So sometimes starting in the middle of a story makes sense if it's a story time. So it's very driven by the content itself. I posted a video recently. I'm going to link that in the show notes for sure. Let me write a note here. Link video. Hold on. So I don't forget. I can't even type. Link video of hook on street. Okay. What I did is I left my building and I decided to do a video that says there's lots of different ways you can do hooks. They don't always have to be verbal. So I showed transition and I talked through some ideas when I was out and about how you can use nonverbal hooks in your videos. That might be a really helpful thing to consider and answer to this question. Because if you watch that, you might say, oh, my content is about this, so maybe it can start with a transition. Or, oh, my content is about this. Maybe I'll record it in a different place for this reason. So it's really starting with what you're recording about and then deciding what could make it more engaging. Is it a words you say? Is it a thing you do? Just push yourself out of your comfort zone to think about it and find something that's a little different and try it. It's a test. That's it. It's just a test. Next question. Where do people get their second phones? A lot of people are recording, I guess, videos where they're showing their phone using another phone. Okay. Well, in fairness, in my case, I actually have two phones because during the pandemic, I was tasked by one of my clients to shoot some interviews with my phone. And I was very nervous that I'd be shooting an interview and then my phone would start ringing, even though it was on Do Not Disturb, or that I might run out of memory right in the middle of recording. And I was so stressed out about this that I decided to go get myself a new phone and then make my current phone my content phone. So what I did was upgraded my phone and kept my old phone instead of trading it in. So that's one strategy. If you have an older phone and you want to, do that and upgrade, you don't even have to add a phone number to it. You can just keep it as a device, transfer your phone number. I didn't even have a phone number on my second phone for 4 years. And then I finally decided to get a phone number on it. And there's a reason for that, because I was shooting with it so often that I realized I better have service, because what if I'm somewhere and I'm trying to edit a video and I can't get online to send it, whatever. I finally had to do the thing, I had to push myself. But for 4 years, it was strictly a content phone. That's it. So the other thing you can do is, if you have another device you can shoot with, or another type of, or another, an old phone, an old video camera that you can use to then transfer the videos, to edit them and upload them. Because then you can do that on your computer if you have a laptop, and then you can drop it to your phone. But the ultimate be all end all is, a lot of us now, content creators, have the dual phone thing going on. I've noticed it more and more. When I was first making tutorials, all I ever saw was people with screen recordings in their background showing how to do things on the phone. And then I was one of the first, I will say for a fact, I was one of the first who actually showed it on a phone, because I can even remember the early tutorialists that I used to watch when I was learning TikTok, and they were always doing it with screen recordings. Always. There was nobody that was doing it, showing it on a phone. And then I started doing it because I had the second phone. And then all of a sudden now. And it wasn't like I invented that idea. It's just that I was one of the early adopters of doing the tutorials in that style with my stylus. And there's still nobody else who uses a stylus. So I own the stylus. I own the brand. Or whatever. I own the trademark on my blue stylus. Woo! All right, last question before I bail out on you and head to the gala, which is funny, actually. This is a true question that I got. Do you have a book for TikTok information? Okay. I have thought about writing a book so many times because I have the information, obviously. The problem is the book would have to be republished every 6 months. Every time TikTok upgrades, something will be obsolete in the book. And I don't want to have something out there attached to my name that is, oh, this is old news. Because a book's going to sit out there on a shelf. And even if it's a PDF book, then I have to keep updating it in that way. So what I have, which is better than a book, is a video course that does get updated every 6 months. So I do include the updates to the apps when it happens. So if you go to hellosocialize.com and you click on Learn, it says TikTok and then courses. You can pick the TikTok course and you can watch this 40-minute outline of everything you need to know about how to do TikTok. And unfortunately, a book would be great. I always thought about it like TikTok for Dummies, but it'll be obsolete so quickly. It's not the same as something like Excel for Dummies, because Excel doesn't change dramatically every 6 months. TikTok, Instagram, they're all changing so quickly that a publication cannot possibly keep up with it. As a matter of fact, I'm told it takes a year to publish a book. By the time that book came out, it would all be old news and I'd look like the idiot. So I can't do a book, but I've got a course for you. So please, the person who asked this question, I didn't write down who asked the question. I hope they're listening, but whoever asked the question, I think, where did I see it? Let's see. Hold on. I think it was actually, oh no, they submitted a question. They submitted a question to the question, submit question thing. And let me see if I can find the person's name, because I'll give them a nice shout out if there's a name attached. Do you have a book? Scrolling down, looking at all the questions that have been submitted. Margie. Margie. Go look at my course. You're going to be so happy because it teaches you everything. So if you have any questions, you can go there and drop questions in the course too. It leaves little spots where you can drop comments and I answer the comments. All right. Hopefully that was helpful for today. Thank you so much for being here. Have a great weekend. I hope that the weather on the East Coast is primo, stunning. The fall leaves are changing here. It's so refreshing. I love the changing seasons and I'm fully enjoying it. So I hope you are enjoying it where you are, and I will be with you next Tuesday. Thanks for listening. And please leave me a nice review today because I gave you lots of good, juicy info. Okay, bye.